All right, so I want to take a moment to talk about the very important part of ASL4ALL. If you remember, one of the four venues of this purpose of this class is to emphasize facial expressions and body language. And my father, oftentimes when he spoke in classes, and I've interpreted for many times when he discussed things with me, he would make this statement that facial expressions and body language could be up to 50% of ASL's communication, and even sometimes 60 to 75% of the communications required to make ASL successful as you use it. Now, what happens a lot of times is people get anxious about using the facial expressions because facial expressions can be odd as you are signing. When you are signing a story, when you're saying something passionately, when you're telling about somebody that was angry or someone that was happy, facial expressions, if you videotape a deaf person or go back and watch many of my videos and just turn off the volume, ignore my hands and just watch my facial expressions, you will see that facial expressions make a big impact on the communication level, whether it's a casual conversation, formal, dramatic, or you're just talking with your friends and family around the dinner table. Facial expressions are very significant in the expression of American Sign Language. Now, the same thing applies to the hearing world. As you speak, in whatever language you speak, whether it's English, Spanish, French, whatever language it is, we have what's called inflection. Our voice goes up, it goes down. Even as I'm speaking to you and signing and talking at the same time now, you're hearing my voice go up and down. You hear pauses, you hear sometimes a little louder, emphasize things, and then sometimes I just kind of pull back my voice and maybe calm down a bit more. The same thing applies in American Sign Language. Facial expressions are vital to it. So don't be nervous about expressing yourselves with your facial expressions and body language. I would encourage you to sometimes look in the mirror, or as you're talking with your friends or family, if you're practicing with somebody, if you're practicing with a husband or a wife, pay attention to their facial expressions. My dad was so skilled at facial expressions and body language, he could sometimes communicate things to me and my family, or even audiences in some of his plays, by not even signing one time. He had several famous plays where he would just literally sit and look at the crowd, and his facial expressions could almost tell a story. Of course, he's the master. We're not there yet, but we can still realize and accept and embrace this beautiful concept that when it comes to American Sign Language, facial expressions are important. Now, think about this. When someone is trying to be passionate and raise their voice, it impacts the ears. When someone's trying to whisper, be quiet, it impacts the ears. You have to listen harder, or whoa, they're too loud. Well, facial expressions do the same thing for American Sign Language because it impacts the visual part of it. ASL is a visual language, so important. So facial expressions, see the sign for it? Facial expressions, body language, facial expressions are a huge part, very important part of communication in American Sign Language. As important as the vocabulary, as important as the finger spelling, and as important as being able to receptively understand. Because in facial expressions, you can tell if someone's happy, calm, peaceful, angry, passionate, or they're just having a normal, regular old conversation. So the challenge for you today is this. Use facial expressions. Look at this. Sometimes you'll ask questions with your eyebrows being raised. You'll ask questions with the way your eyes, you squint your eyes, your nose even, the way your nose scrunches up. There's so many different ways that facial expressions communicate within American Sign Language. So accept it, embrace it, and use facial expressions as you consistently learn American Sign Language. ASL4ALL. God bless, make it a great day, and let's embrace facial expressions.